Everybody, this is Rob Keens, your host with goldsilverpros.com, and we are live. It is Tuesday, June 27th, 2023. Welcome everybody to the program. Real quick sound check. Everything looks good. Today we're going to be talking about the BRICS and their alternative currency and CBDCs in China and a lot of different things, because this is starting to move very fast. And again, this is a common thread that we talk about on the program. I was on Liberty and Finance talking about it with Elijah last night, and it's something we definitely need to talk about today. Welcome everybody to the program. Welcome Peter Frohwein, who's our channel moderator, who's riding shotgun with us today. Everybody else who's in, Rick Zellner, Neil, and everybody else who joined the program, thank you so much for joining. We do appreciate it. We do not have a poll today. I thought I would give it a rest on the polls. But definitely, if you're wanting an answer to a question, we have super chats available. Just click the super chat button and leave one for me, and I guarantee that I'll answer it for you. And I'll try to do the best that I can to monitor the regular chat during the presentation. We're going to go ahead and get it started. Another quick sound check. Everything's good. So what the heck is going on with the Shanghai Clearinghouse? Here, an article at Crypto News: Shanghai Clearinghouse adds support for digital yuan in commodity trading. Why is this important? Well, we're going to get to it in the presentation. Shanghai Clearinghouse, a financial institution under China's central bank, has introduced digital yuan clearing and settlement services for commodity trading, enhancing cross-border transactions and promoting the internationalization of China's currency. That single paragraph right there tells you how close the Chinese are to being big competitors to the US dollar international trade. They're using technology to propagate trade using the yuan and what? Commodities. And what have I been saying now for 3 straight years? Commodity wars are coming. Resources and access to resources are going to drive further geopolitical changes and currency changes. It all basically is boiled down to the allocation of goods in society. Trading networks form, currencies form on top, geopolitical unions form on top of that, and then military forms on top of that. And that all we're seeing is a realignment of all of that stuff. It says here, the Shanghai Clearinghouse has taken a remarkable step towards integrating China's central bank digital currency, or the CBDC, commonly known as a digital yuan, into the world of commodity trading. The move highlights the growing institutional acceptance of the digital yuan and its potential to revolutionize financial transactions in the country. With the new launch services, traders can conduct cross-bank clearings and settlements using the digital yuan for commodities. Guess what they're not going to be using when they're using the digital yuan? They're not going to be using the US dollar or any form of it, whether it be paper or we eventually get the digital dollar. China ain't going to use it. The team says this development offers several benefits, including security, cost effectiveness, and simplified cross-border transactions. Experts believe this initiative could further propel the internationalization of China's digital currency. Okay, so they're not holding back. Everybody thought I was nuts in 2019, April 2019, when I started talking about this 4 years ago. It's right here in front of you right now. And I talk to people on an everyday basis about this stuff, and their eyes glaze over. They just don't get it. And they're not paying attention to this stuff, but it's vitally important. This is not the first instance of digital yuan adoption commodity trading. In October 2022, the Shandong International Commodity Exchange reportedly executed a 1 million yuan settlement for imported rubber using the digital yuan, making an early milestone for the CBDC. The adoption of the digital yuan is not limited to commodity trading. Recently, Qingdao City introduced digital yuan payments for urban rail transit fees, enabling users to pay using digital currency conveniently. Moreover, during the 618 festival, a leading online shopping platform, JD.com, witnessed a staggering 254% increase in digital yuan transactions compared to the previous year, with transaction volume setting new records. The surge in digital yuan usage demonstrates its growing popularity among consumers in China. See, I reported months ago where China was trying to implement the digital yuan, and it didn't work because everybody had Alipay and WePay, and they didn't see the need to use it. But China pushed it out and gave discounts and rewards. Kind of like when you sign up for a credit card and they give you credit card points and you pick which credit card you want based on the lowest interest rate and the more points you're going to get and your balance. Well, China figured out if we give points or rebates or incentives, people are going to adopt this. And guess what? They're adopting it. To end the article, these developments come after the Chinese government decided to pay civil servants using the digital yuan starting in May 2023. So government employees are getting pay in digital yuan, not regular yuan. This move aims to promote wider adoption of the official digital currency, particularly among government personnel, teachers, healthcare professionals, journalists, media technicians, blah, blah, blah. The introduction of the digital yuan for salary payments further solidifies its status as an official means of exchange. Well, it's not only China getting into it, ladies and gentlemen. This would be Mastercard. Yes, that international credit card agency. Chances are, if you have any credit cards at all, at least one of them has this little logo on it right here for Mastercard. And they are, I believe, the second leading payments processor internationally behind Visa, I believe, but I have to go check those numbers. But they're one of the big ones. It says here on App Inventive, Mastercard, an American financial services company, was granted a patent on October 9th, 2018. The patent will allow Mastercard to partition blockchain in order to store countless transactions in different formats. The details of this new system, which is not new for Mastercard, which is not new for Mastercard. How long have they been working on this? And they got the patent in 2018. That's 5 years ago, 4.5 years ago. Mastercard's been working on this for about at least 5 years. And to get the patent, they had to have been working on it before. Was Mastercard working on this when Bitcoin first came out and they said, oh, we need to start working on this? It takes time to develop these solutions. And they got the patent in 2018. When I say the infrastructure is being laid for adoption of CBDCs across the entire financial system, I'm not joking. And it's not all occurring this year. A lot of this stuff has been in place for 5 years. They get the patents, they develop the technology, they push it out. The details of the new system, the article says, is shared by the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office. There are different types of blockchains, and each of them stores transactions separately. For instance, Bitcoins use one type of system, whereas Ethereum uses another. And they basically built the system to work between the two. The new system will use subnet, and this is an IT subject I want to bring up. The new system will use subnets that allow blockchains to receive data from multiple blocks. In other words, this essentially is the path of the internet. When the internet was first developed and only a few people were on it, each person had an IP address that was publicly addressable on the internet. But as it grew and more devices had to be added, we ran out of IP addresses. So we came up with something called a subnet. A subnet allows you to have a base IP address that the whole world sees, and then everything below it for your organization, your school, your church, your community is on private addressing. And that's called subnetting, or you can subnet public addresses, but a lot of it is subnetting private addresses. And when you do that, it allows each of your systems to have its own address, but be secured from the outside. There's a layer of security, but also it allows bazillions of devices to proliferate and allows us to reuse IP addresses without causing conflict. Well, that's what their Mastercard is doing with the blockchain. They realize there's all these blockchain systems. You got private ones, you got CBDCs. They're building the connectors between these systems to allow them to communicate and not interfere with each other, much like the internet developed. So you're starting to see the second generation of blockchain technology being put into place. This is second generation. This is where they say, okay, and it's what I said 5 years ago about Bitcoin. You can't scale it without doing multiple federated layers, much like the internet. Why? Because I had a career in technology for 25 years. And I understood the concept, the technology concept. Mastercard is putting some of the glue in the system, which allows all these interspersed systems to settle amongst each other, okay? Amongst each other. They're building the ecosystem that each one of these individual pieces can now start to be connected. Mastercard wins patent for managing fractional reserves of blockchain currency. The patent filed on the 29th of June, 2018, again, 5 years ago, refers to the use of centralized accounts to manage fractional reserves of fiat and blockchain currency. Fiat and blockchain. Why would they want fiat and blockchain? Remember when I said there's going to be a transition period between fiat and the central bank digital currencies? They got to do both. This is a transition technology, which eventually leads to the replacement of all fiat currencies with central bank digital currencies. That's what they're saying right now they want to do. It's in all of the press, not conspiracy theory. It's in mainstream media. And by the way, they filed all these patents 5 years ago. The inventor, Stephen Charles Davis, senior consultant of research and development at Mastercard, explained the need for such a mechanism. I'm going to do a real quick sound check, make sure everything is working on the program. We got sound, going right back to it, guys. Don't worry. Blockchain-based transactions can be very time-consuming due to computer processing, time, and resources to verify. This creates a problem between consumers and merchants. As a quote, in such latter instances, the anonymity of the blockchain may leave the payee at a disadvantage because the inability for the payee to identify the payer may prohibit the payee from blah, blah, blah. So in other words, you have to take away anonymity for these various systems to connect together. Think about this for a moment. What do people say they want to use private digital currencies for, like Bitcoin and Ethereum? Privacy. Well, we know once you get on the blockchain, you're not private. Yes, you have this really long, complicated computer address, which nobody's going to know that that's Rob Keynes or John Smith or Sally. But if they can take that number and see which bank account you withdrew that money to, they'll know it's yours. The government can do this. Okay, people can't. So there's some privacy in the blockchain between users. Well, Mastercard is saying, well, you can't have that when you're integrating this ecosystem together. We got to start telling who people are. So this is removing some of that anonymity. So if you're on Bitcoin or Ethereum and you think you're anonymous, guess what? When the ecosystem is built, the one Mastercard's building, they're taking a lot of that away. You can't, when they're talking about permissionless and permissionable systems, you have to identify who the people are to put those together because they're different systems. And I don't want to go in the technology behind it, but this is what they got to do. And they're talking about risk and fraud detection methods. So they want to know who you are in private cryptos. And Mastercard's been developing that technology to identify private crypto holders. Again, patent when? 5 years ago. Not this week. 5 years ago. Okay. You don't think that they knew what was coming? They knew what was coming. They've been building it for over 5 years, ladies and gentlemen. Some of this for 10. Another article from CoinDesk. Mastercard president says crypto payments will pay off when central bank digital currencies arrive. Now the tie between Mastercard and CBDCs. Crypto IP puts us in a good position for central bank digital currency, said Mastercard president 𝘍𝙀𝘾𝙆𝙎. You know what they're doing? They know that there's going to be this battle getting people off of private crypto and off of things like gold into CBDCs. So Mastercard's just building the connectors. They're building the ecosystem so that you can't say, oh, I can't pay you in CBDC because Bitcoin doesn't work there. Well, guess what? What are they putting into place? They're taking away that excuse. So what are you going to do when you're holding Bitcoin or Ethereum or Monero or pick Litecoin or pick your crypto of choice, Dogecoin if you want? And all of these regulations are put into place to force you to give up your anonymity, to force you into the system where you have to transact across a CBDC system to send somebody money across the crypto complex. See, I've said that they're not going to completely get rid of crypto. They're going to regulate, they're going to tax, and they're going to monitor. And this is what they're doing. And they're putting connectors in place so you can't use excuses about how this is for anonymity. They don't want you to be anonymous, and you're not going to be. Mastercard President Michael 𝘍𝙀𝘶, according to the article, said the payment processor's massive trove of cryptocurrency patents will give it an edge once central bank digital currencies defeat. What? Massive trove of cryptocurrency patents. How long has Mastercard been putting this into place? We'll give it an edge with central bank digital currencies. They've been planning this for years. You get it? Are you getting it now? Are you waking up to what they've been putting into place? You've been seeing the talk about central bank digital currencies ramp up for the last 6 months. The infrastructure was put into place years ago. What do I say? When they start talking about in the press, they're getting close to implementing it. Now, it's still going to take years and years to get everything up and running, but it's running at a pace where you cannot stop it right now unless you literally just drop out of the system and say, I'm done. It's Atlas shrugged. I'm out. Okay. But they're not waiting for you to approve any of this. They're not waiting on a vote of constitutionality. They're not putting it through Congress. They're using private sector to build the control grid and the currency grid, okay, so that they can implement their policies. And once the infrastructure is in place and they've got people using it, say, well, people are using it. People in China are using it. Zimbabwe, the United States now. Hey, everybody's using it. We're going to make a national version of it. And oh, by the way, we just happen to have all this software built that connects all of it. It just like appeared out of nowhere. We just made this up yesterday. It's all BS. And remember what our show is about. Cowboy Meadows Live. We're broadcasting from a great state of Texas, and we take no BS. I'm giving you the truth right here. Mastercard's cryptocurrency intellectual property puts us in a good position for a CBDC future, 𝘍𝙀𝘾𝙆𝙎 told analysts during the firm's Q3 earnings call. That would have been, I don't know, was this last year? Oh, God, this is in 2020. Mastercard's cryptocurrency intellectual property puts us in a good position for a CBDC future. The link into an acceptance network is critical. What does this mean? What is this code for? An acceptance network. What is an acceptance network? If we don't accept you, you can't participate. It's a control grid. You get it? I'm translating the language for you. It's a control grid. So we hold some patents in the crypto space that link transactions right back to our network where it can be used. And this is how we can bring value. It brings value to us. Yeah, you make money on transactions. You're bankers. 𝘲𝑃 further asserted Mastercard is the leading payments processor for crypto IP. Who's going to be bigger, Mastercard or Visa going forward? This will tell you the answer to that right now. That may be true for now, but perhaps not for long. Ant Group affiliate Alibaba is on track to hold an unprecedented number of blockchain patents. Who's Alibaba? Gee, I don't know. Have we heard this name before? Chinese conglomerate Alibaba. What are they doing in China? Digital yuan. What's Alibaba doing? Blockchain patent. There you go. I don't know what else to say. A company spokesperson did not immediately answer questions regarding the size of Mastercard's IP trove. 𝘲𝑃 said Mastercard is talking with world governments on their plan for CBDC in 2020 during the pandemic. We were all worried about the pandemic. They were laying the root of the control of the currency control system in place while we were worried about the pandemic. I know that there's some conclusion I could probably draw from that, but I'm just drawing a blank. I'm not. There was a pandemic that we were worried about, and they were putting stuff in place for the worldwide currency network. I don't know. There's some conclusion there. I have no idea what it is. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Stablecoin payments. Oh, not to be left out of it. Here comes Visa. Visa shares plans for ambitious crypto product. Visa's upcoming crypto product is designed to drive mainstream adoption of public blockchain networks and stablecoin payments. Global payment giant Visa continues to explore the benefits of cryptocurrency industry with a new initiative focused on stablecoin payments. Yes. Kai Sheffield, head of crypto at Visa, took to Twitter on April 24th to announce a new cryptocurrency-related project developed by the firm. Why are the credit cards getting involved in crypto? What did I say a couple of years ago? Get off your credit cards. Why? Because credit cards are what? A form of what? Electronic payment. What is crypto? A form of what? Electronic payment. If they get you in the credit card in the banking system, you're not going to see any difference and you're going to adopt it. This is how they're going to do it. They're putting a layer of crypto on top of the existing system and you're going to use it. Because why? Because it's easy and people are going to be lazy and they say, oh, well, I just use it because it's the system and oh, it's so easy to use that credit card. Visa's upcoming crypto product is designed to drive mainstream adoption of public blockchain networks and stablecoin payments, Sheffield noted. Let me read that again. Their upcoming crypto product is designed to drive mainstream adoption of public blockchain networks and stablecoin payments. Visa and Mastercard are part of pushing you into, nudging, as the book says, nudging you into the system they want using existing technologies and systems that you already have. So you don't have to do anything. They're doing it all for you, making it easy for you to get into this control system they are. According to Visa job posting published on April 20th, the company's crypto division is building the next generation of products to facilitate the digital commerce of everyday life. Why? Because they're bankers. That's why. Who owns MasterCard and Visa? The banks. And people thought that the credit cards were going to be intimidated or worried about the cryptos. No, because they're owned by the banks. And who wants the crypto? The banks. Who makes money off the crypto complex? The banks. All along. I don't care what Jamie Dimon and JP Morgan were saying. All along, why they lied to you in the press, they were doing this. A treasure trove of patents, building infrastructure, driving people into crypto. You hear the language that they're saying? All right, we're going to go back to the presentation, make sure everybody's okay. Do a real quick sound check. There we go. We're doing good, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to give a breather for a sec. See if we have questions. Hey, Long Live Coins. Thanks for joining the chat. See you there in the chat. Caleb Fast is here. Alan Van Cleve, thank you for being a supporter of the program. Alan, we do definitely appreciate that very much. Ridge Runner comment. Rob, throw down, man. Throw down hard. I'm doing my best, Ridge Runner. Living the Dream is here. Called me a conspiracist. That's right. I guess I'm a conspiracist when it's all in the public. And I said it 5 years ago, and everything I said's come true. And, you know, Oh, I'm here with you, Ridge Runner. I'm a conspiracy theorist too, apparently, because I say things 5 years ahead and then they come true. And that makes me a conspiracy theorist, except for the fact that it's confirmed conspiracy. Because what is a conspiracy? It's an act by two people to do something. It doesn't have to be negative. Two people go to church. That's a conspiracy to go study the word of God and to go meet your friends, right? Or you go to a concert. You're in a conspiracy to go watch Iron Maiden play or Taylor Swift or whatever. Okay. Yeah, I'm a conspiracy theorist, but everything I talk about happens to come true. So I wear that title of conspiracy theorist, I guess, with pride. All right, back to the presentation. Now we're going to talk about BRICS and BRICS Plus. So everybody's been talking, and I talked last night on Liberty and Finance with Elijah about the BRICS and the meeting in August. It's gone all around the internet. If you watch any gold, silver, or Bitcoin channels or any macro channels, you probably heard people talk about it. And I just want to walk you through real quick, sort of what BRICS and BRICS Plus is, so that you know the development of the rest of the nations around the world and how they're de-dollarizing and what they're doing. So I just want to walk you through, because it's if you look at it, it's not the CBDCs versus the private cryptos, which I said for years, the private cryptos are going to be there to help them develop the CBDCs, and then they're going to de-emphasize the private cryptos, or they're going to ring fence them. What are they doing? They're ring fencing them. They're going to put the private cryptos into ETFs so they can control money flow. So it also can be regulated by the CFTC and the SEC. And then they're going to build these connected networks between private cryptos and CBDCs. And eventually they're going to push the private cryptos out. But they need the private cryptos to develop all the tech that they need. So then we're done. Then they can push them out. And they'll make some sort of, terrorism or war or something. We need to get rid of private cryptos. It's financing, illegal this or that. That's what I have said for years is going to happen. They haven't pushed out the private cryptos yet, but they have hamstrung them, not completely neutered them, but they've really affected the ability to operate an exchange, to put your money on exchange, to transfer money, to onboard it, to offboard it in the banking system. And they're doing that to prevent the private cryptos from taking over what they want the CBDCs to be. All right, so from Fortune magazine, how long will the dollar last as the world's default currency? The BRICS nations are gathering in South Africa this August with it on the agenda. Could a new currency be set to challenge the dominance of the dollar? Perhaps, but that may not be the point. In August of 2023, South Africa will host leaders of Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, a group of nations known by the acronym BRICS, B-R-I-C-S. Among the items on the agenda is a creation of a new joint BRICS currency. Those last two paragraphs I read from Fortune, for those of you who are going to hear this on the podcast later, I'm still reading from Fortune magazine. As a scholar who has studied BRICS countries, the author of the article, not me, says, I certainly see why talk of BRICS currencies will gaining currency. The BRICS summit comes as countries around the world are confronting a changing geopolitical landscape that is changing the traditional dominance of the West. This is in Fortune magazine, a major Western financial news rag. And I've been saying this forever, and now it's mainstream. And while the BRICS countries have been seeking to reduce the reliance on the dollar for over a decade, there's an admission that they've been doing this for a decade. What has Mastercard been doing since 2018? What has Shanghai been doing? What did Fortune magazine admit they've been doing for a decade? A decade. You understand? Since the last financial crisis, the rest of the world said, screw you, US. Screw you. And this is what's going on. Western sanctions on Russia after its invasion of Ukraine have accelerated the process. So what did I say last night on Liberty and Finance with Elijah? I said the U.S. put sanctions, and that facilitated the de-dollarization and the ramp up of these alternative currency systems. And you just see it in Fortune right now. What did I say? And what happened? And it's not that I'm that smart. I just read ahead. I read ahead, which is why you come to the channel, because I do all this stuff. You guys don't have to do all that reading, but now it's in mainstream. It used to be really hard to find. You have to go dig through the BIS and IMF, and people thought you're a conspiracy theorist. And even if you printed the article from the IMF, they're like, oh, that's all, I'll never happen. And now every single mainstream media outlet is shoving it down your fucking throat right now. Meanwhile, rising interest rates and the recent debt ceiling crisis in the U.S. have raised concerns among other countries about the dollar-denominated debt and the demise of the dollar should the world's leading economy ever default. This is Fortune talking about the demise of the most powerful economy that's ever existed on planet Earth, as if it's a foregone conclusion. What did 𝘎𝙀𝘾𝙊 say about the truth? At first, it's derided. Second, it's ridiculed vehemently, and people are persecuted on it, and then it's accepted as truth. It sure as hell sounds like in this article that Fortune has now accepted the demise of the dollar as truth. Have you accepted the demise of the dollar of truth? Have you prepared? Have you done what you need to do? They're telling you. Are you listening? That all said, a new BRICS currency faces major hurdles before becoming a reality. But what currency discussions do show is that the BRICS countries are seeking to discover and develop new ideas about how to shake up international affairs and coordinate policies. Oh, it's such flowery language. We love it. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo! With 88% of international transactions conducted in US dollars and the dollar accounting for 58% of global foreign, I feel like I need to be one of these broadcasters. I'm reading this. And the dollar accounting for 58% of global foreign exchange reserves. In other words, yeah, people use the dollar more, but that's fallen. It's fallen from 70 to 58%. So what does that mean? Reducing the economy's reliance on the US dollar for international trade and finance has been accelerating following the Russian invasion of Ukraine. No, it's been accelerating for years. The BRICS countries have been pursuing a wide range of initiatives to decrease their dependence on the dollar. Again, this is Fortune magazine. This is not conspiracy theory, ladies and gentlemen. Over the past year, Russia, China, and Brazil have turned to greater use of non-dollar currencies in their cross-border transactions. What did I say last week when I did the currency chart from the IMF? Iraq, Saudi Arabia, and United Arab Emirates are actively exploring dollar alternatives. Yeah, CPAM, didn't we talk on that last week? And central banks have sought to shift more of their currency reserves away from the dollar and into gold. What have we been talking about? Basel and recapitalizing the gold system. Finally, 5 years after I start talking about this, Fortune's on it. All the BRICS nations have been critical of the dollar's dominance for different reasons. Russian officials have been championing de-dollarization to ease the pain from sanctions. Because of sanctions, Russian banks have been able to use SWIFT, and so they developed their own. Meanwhile, the 2022 election in Brazil reinstated Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva as president. Lula, a longtime proponent of BRICS, who previously sought to reduce Brazil's dependence on vulnerability to the dollar. He has re-energized the group's commitment to de-dollarization and spoken about creating a new euro-like currency. What did I say about regional currencies? What news did we just have out about Europe? They want to combine their commercial deposits in the banking system with investment. Why? So that they can have their own currency union and their own financial union so that they can break off from the Western system. We're going to regional currency and trading blocks. It's right here. The Chinese government has also clearly laid out its concerns in the dollar's dominance, labeling it the main source of instability and uncertainty in the world economy. Are the Chinese holding back on their view of the dollar? No. That's a shot across the bow. Where is the U.S. saying, whoa, wait a minute, you're criticizing the world's leading currency? Crickets. Because the U.S. is in on it, they know. And they don't want to talk about it because they don't have their digital dollar yet. We're behind. They can't. China and Russia can just sit there and beat us in the face with it. The U.S. is not ready yet. They can't talk about their digital dollar yet. It's an embarrassment. It's an embarrassment to the central bank. It's an embarrassment to the administration. We're being embarrassed. We're being slapped with a dead fish across the face, or a white glove, if you will. And we're not fighting back. Are you fighting back? Are you buying gold and silver? What are you doing? Beijing directly blamed the Fed's interest rate hike for causing turmoil in international financial market and substantial depreciation of other currencies. Blah, 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 blah. What's BRICS Plus? Well, according to Russia and Global Affairs, BRICS Plus, alternative globalization in the making. Look at the date. I believe, ladies and gentlemen, that says 2017. I believe that was 6 years ago, just about. It's late June. Yeah. 5 years, 10 months. You think this is new? By building a network of economic alliances across continents, the BRICS may take the lead in shaping global economic integration against the backdrop of waning integration impulses in the developed world, quote from the article. Apart from opening new pathways and fostering new alliances, the BRICS could also perform the role of aggregating platform for some of the regional trade agreements. Aggregating platform. What is integration? I told you the night. What is integration code for? Control. Who's controlling? BRICS. Who leads the BRICS? Well, really China and Russia. China is the big boy. Let's see if we can just fast forward towards currencies. This is really just what I wanted to show you. There's a lot of stuff there. Use of national currency payment systems. This is written in 2017. The BRICS Plus Circle could serve as an extensive platform for creation of BRICS Plus currency payment systems and expansion of their use. What's happening with Iran and CPAM? What's happening with the Chinese and Russian wire systems? What's happening with the gold-backed digital currency? What's happening with all the trade agreements done outside the dollar? It was written about 5 fucking years ago in a Russian mag. It could also serve as a platform for extending the use of national currencies in mutual trade and investment transactions, thus reducing dependency on the US dollar and the euro. When was this written? 5 years ago. It didn't start with the sanctions. The world after the last crisis, the banking crisis in the US, started to de-dollarize years ago. BRICS Plus. Here's their website, BRICS-plus.com. Here are the countries involved. And here's a little video on how they work. Now, I'm not going to play the sound of the video. I just want you to watch this real quick. Watch this video. This looks distinctly Western. Does that guy look Chinese?
Want global recognition as an individual, or simply want your business and brand awareness in foreign markets? BRICS Plus is your #1 solution provider.
They're holding conferences. It's an international organization.
With the participation of experts, scientists, investors, politicians, celebrities, and public figures.
Now you wonder why Saudi Arabia is it LIV, the alternative golf network? Why is the Middle East investing in American? They're investing in pro racing teams like Formula One. They're investing in golf. Why? They need the acceptance of the Western world. And they're also buying out our properties because they can. It's twofold. They're going to buy them to slap us in the face with a dead fish. And they're doing it to gain acceptance. They're using our system against us. It's brilliant. It's cunningly brilliant.
86 countries created to improve the quality of life for people around the world and standards of environmental and social responsibilities for business, government, and society. BRICS Plus is the right partner you need at your end. Our experts.
They don't look Chinese either, or Brazilian. It's interesting that they look distinctly Western. European, US, Canada, Canadian maybe. I don't see Mexico in there. Well, maybe there was some Hispanic. But that looks distinctly, there you go. You got a sheik or a prince or something along those lines. There you go. They got a whole website. It's been in place for years. Years, ladies and gentlemen. This ain't new. Sorry, it's just replaying that. Woo, there you go. That's what's going on. It's been going in place for years. That's the system. What I said is coming true, I think. Now, the shades of gray, I might not be right on everything, and I'm not trying to be right. I'm just trying to figure it out to help you guys out and to help me so we can understand it. So we're going to sum. We're at that part of the program where we're going to sum. I believe that this has been in place for years. I believe it started in earnest after the last financial crisis, after the rest of the world decided that they were tired of our crap. And they came out with Basel standards in 2012, which is recapitalization of the banking system. They started coming out with a Belt and Road Initiative over 10 years ago. They started development on cryptocurrency projects and currency unions over 5 years ago. They talked about the death of the dollar over 5 years ago. They've been building these systems for multiple years. It's not going to take another 20 years to build. It may be 5 or 10. The dollar's on its way out. And it's in American press. It's in everybody's. It's everywhere. It is simply everywhere. And, you know, I don't know what else to say. It's blatantly obvious now. And there are so many people that they don't want to listen. They don't want to pay attention. They're not making preparations. And I basically last night was on Liberty and Finance, almost begging people to make preparations. Because you don't have much time, because this is coming into place. And I did say last night on Liberty and Finance that, yeah, it's going to take some time, but this is all underway. And for those of you who I want to address it, if you don't hold it, you don't own it crowd for a moment, that to some extent could be true. But if we don't start circulating precious metals in some way, whether you take, you know, your piece of precious metal and you hand it to someone, or you do gold backs, or Aurum, which are basically infused notes in gold. There's two companies do that, Goldbacks and Aurum. Look both of them up. Or you don't do an asset-backed digital currency like Kinesis or Load or something where you have your gold and silver stored and you can use a credit card. Even Glint, to that extent, will do that as well. Where you, and I'm naming a bunch of those. I like Kinesis, they're a show sponsor, but I like the other ones as well, so I'll mention them. Where you have a credit card and it goes and debits your gold and silver. That's a way to do it. You could just hand out, pre-1965 coins with silver in them, and as long, as payment. But if we're not doing that, if we're not circulating it, these systems are going to come into place and the rest of the world's going to use them, and American citizens use them because we don't have our own payment networks. And without our own payment networks, whether it be physical, whether it be Goldbacks or Aurum, or whether it be Kinesis or Load or Glint Pay, we need to circulate the precious metals, because if we don't start circulating, we're in trouble. They've got their systems up. We don't have time. So I am going to talk about on the program the sponsor, because, well, they are the sponsor. And they do make this presentation possible. It is Kinesis.money. And down there below, we do have an affiliate link. If you click on it, yes, we do good credit if you sign up and fund your account. And there's a special offer, I believe, to get some free silver as well. Please look down on the affiliate link below. I just like Kinesis. And I'm not really going to talk about features or anything like that for a moment. I'm just going to make you aware for people who don't know. The reason I like them is because they have storage that's audited. They allow you to use, using a Stellar blockchain, send money to other people. It's one-for-one audited and matched up. So you're actually sending gold and silver, but they facilitate all of the storage and everything. They don't charge you storage fees because it's a blip on the overall cost for them, because where they make their money is on circulation and on buying and selling. So storing, there's no fees. And there are incentives as well, whether you hold it or you spend it. Fees go into a pool. A percentage of that pool is distributed. It's not a Ponzi system, a percentage of the existing pool. So if nobody's spending or holding, you don't get anything. But if people are spending and holding, a percentage of that goes to the users who are spending or holding. And those are called yields. So there are yields in the system, which are not a Ponzi. They're only paid out of existing money coming in, and you get a percentage of that. And so that's a benefit to holding it. If you're interested, if you're not, that's okay. If you want to hold your gold and silver and store it at home, you can. One of the things that I want to do, I've been talking about high quality safes with a lot of safe companies lately. So eventually I'm going to bring some people on to talk about a safe if you want to have it in your home. And I'll talk about how to secure it at home and the best way to do it. I don't advocate putting a lot at home. I don't have anything at home other than a couple of silver pieces to have on the show. But if you didn't want to have it at home, we'll bring somebody on to talk safes eventually. And that'll be a completely different show. But however you do it, you got to circulate gold and silver, because if you don't, they're going to win. They are going to win. And we don't want them to win. Okay. And it's been marching on for a long time. We got to stop it. All right. That's going to do it for today, guys. I think I didn't see any super chats in there. Thank you, everybody, for commenting, be a part of the show, coming over here and watching us. We greatly appreciate it. We appreciate you being there. This is who we do it for. Stay tuned to the channel. Thursday, we're going to have more research report for you. Friday, we have the weekly market wrap up. This coming Monday, I've got another mining stock for you. This is not a sponsor of the program. I put them on the program once a year just because I love this company. And we'll talk about that on Monday, Mining Stock Monday. And we'll continue on with the content. We're going to keep bringing you more and more and more. And also look down there below, because we're on Rumble, we're on BitChute, we're on TikTok, short form content, we're on Twitter, we're on all these alternative networks as well. If for any reason the content doesn't go out here, you can get us all those other places. Simply go to goldsilverpros.com and click the link, which will show you all of our social media channels. Thank you so much for joining the program, everybody. Hope you have a blessed day. This has been Rob Kientz of Gold Silver Pros. We broadcast from the great state of Texas, and we take no BS. And that's what we do here at Gold Silver Pros. Thank you guys so much. Have a great one. Until next time.